to see everybody.
What's poppin'?
Wow.
There you go. Look at y'all trying to figure out his computer. You old man.
I got it. Sherrod, we the same fucking age, Sherrod.
I know, but not when it comes to electronics.
Hi, SD.
Hi, how are you, Mike?
Esty!
Hey,
You look
bud.
good, Esty.
Yes.
What's up, Mike?
I'm good. You? Judah Friedlander's in the building.
Judah.
What's good,
Judas
Judah?
here.
Yeah.
Good to
Judy.
see you.
Ready, gone?
How are you?
Hi.
How are you?
Cellar Nightly. It's a packed house in here. I'm Sherrod Small. I'm
Hey,
I'm
Judy Gold.
controlling this.
Hi. I
Mike
missed you
Yard, Owen
guys.
Smith,
Yes,
Judy Gold,
what up?
Why is Sherrod on here?
Friedlander.
Hi, SD.
And of course, Esty. Of course,
No one's
Esty's
going to
here.
be able to fucking talk if Sherrod's on here.
Actually, I'm hosting the show, so you're talking over me.
Fuck.
What random Fred Savage just walked in the background? How many jokes do you have? We're like Boy Meets World in that house.
That's right.
I mean, so it's a packed house. Cellar Nightly. Judo, you say you where now? You been down in Maryland?
Yep, in Maryland right now. In
Hey.
Maryland, holding down the fort in Maryland.
What's
up?
the matter?
Quarantining in Maryland?
Yeah, well, my birthday is March 16th, which was the day the city shut.
Oh,
And
wow.
Shit.
I go visit my parents in Maryland about once a month as it is. I always go home for
Oh,
the,
you're such
my
a nice
birthday.
boy.
And so I've been here since the quarantine. Yeah, I've been here since.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's where I grew
You're
up,
back in the
Maryland.
room.
Yeah.
Is your mom sitting right next to you, feeding you lines?
They went to sleep hours ago. They went to sleep hours.
He's in a house
Oh,
he
yeah.
lost his virginity in.
Wow.
You starting to get pimples again.
Still holding.
That's hilarious.
He got a Redskins poster on the wall.
Oh, no.
Who's your team?
What's that?
Wasn't you a Redskins fan?
I am.
I might call them Washington. I do not call them by their name. Yeah.
All right, there you go.
I don't, yeah.
Owen, you grew up in Maryland?
I
Yeah,
used
PG
to-
County. Yep, PG
Yeah,
County.
Look at Judah,
Beat 'em
all
big.
dedicated to fairness and equality. You won't even say Redskins.
No way, dude. I don't do that. No. I hate the name. I hate
Good
the
for
owner.
you,
of the team.
Judah. Way to be a righteous individual.
Nice,
You gotta
Judah.
fight. Everybody's got to fight for everybody. I've never understood people who didn't do otherwise. I've never understood it.
You
know?
do know the
Welcome to
Yankee
the
is a
world.
derogatory statement, too. Yankee is a derogatory statement.
Absolutely.
derogatory
That's
name.
why I'm not a Yankee fan.
Yankees
Metropolitan.
Yes, it is against America, against the first Americans. That's what the English used to call everybody who moved up here Yankee Doodle Dandy. That's an attack.
Yeah.
That's like calling him a little gay boy, like a little gay boy who won't fight. That's what that means. The Yankees. Google it.
Whenever I go back to the Bahamas to see my family there, they always call me a
Broadway, Yankee Doodle Dandy. That's very American.
But that Yankee Doodle Dandy is from before the American Revolution. That song.
Yeah.
But
All right.
Look at you all being all historical and shit.
I mean, I know my stuff, man. I know my diaspora. Jude,
With yourself,
huh?
Mike.
Huh?
Huh?
What
Where
happened,
did you
Mike?
go?
Where's
Get
your-
back here.
Mike don't know what he doing. Get one of your sons in there to help you with
No,
your.
what happened was my battery needed to be charged, so it wasn't plugged in. I thought it was. You're right.
Wow.
I don't get this electronic shit.
Okay, moving on.
Yes, moving on.
Usually,
So have you been protesting out there, Owen? Owen, you're in LA right now, right?
I'm in Santa Monica, man,
Santa
where it
Monica.
went down the last 2 nights. You could smell the fires and everything has been crazy. And I had a lot of people calling me. I thought they were calling to check on me, but they was like putting in looting orders and shit. They was like, yo, if you loot, I'm a size 14, dog.
Can I tell you what happened though?
don't worry, Sherrod did the same thing. He went to for exchange.
Yeah, I went there to return a
Yeah.
shirt during the looting. I went to return a shirt.
God, I am for looting. I am for looting.
The headphones.
Everyone's been sitting at home getting shit delivered. Fuck it. Go get it. Get in the store. Grab that shit.
Man.
Get off your lazy ass and go get it, huh?
Wait,
Yeah.
Sherrod, how come you have sunlight?
Why are you talking to me like you're a hostage negotiator?
Yeah, Sherrod.
Microphone away.
Ugh, you're so annoying. Sherrod! No, but how come there's
What kind of
sunlight
fucking
behind
mic
you?
is that?
Because it's the sunset.
Oh, shut the fuck up. It's my blue mic, okay? I have another mic, but I don't feel like connecting it.
Guys,
Is that your
everybody
son
be
behind
careful. Judy has a teen cop behind her.
I have teen cops here.
Judy, the sun's just still up. I'm in the mountains.
She's got the Gen Z force behind her.
Judy, how are you holding up? You got the whole family there. Is anybody going
Here,
out?
okay, so I've been in Provincetown most of the time.
Right.
The weather sucked.
What's up, Henry?
Now I'm in
Provincetown.
It's in on Cape Cod. It's very gay. Anyway.
Not a lot of protesting going out there, huh?
They're all like, yes, there's protesting. Shut the fuck up, Sherrod. Anyway, I'm gonna kill Liz for putting me on the hosting by Sherrod show. And then so now I'm in New York because I am recording my audiobook.
Oh,
Hey.
Nice.
Hey now. Where's my phone?
Right. Congratulations.
I can only assume what volume it's going to be on.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Is it an autobiography?
You're going to still hear the book after when the book is closed.
Here's the book. Yes, I can say that.
Oh, perfect. Nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's all about freedom of speech.
I love it.
It's really good.
Congratulations.
Have you been
Congratulations.
participating in the protest, Judy? Because I know you like to stay active. Are you out there marching?
Well, I go to protests a lot, but because of the pandemic, I'm not going out there. I'm doing everything I can to support from inside. But you know me, I've been going to protests a lot for years. But these, I'm just trying to support as much as I can. I have a few friends who were arrested in New York the past couple days.
That was me, but it was unrelated charges. It was unrelated.
Okay. Yeah, these guys weren't at the protest. They were just fucking shit up. But
no, they just always get arrested.
What's that?
I say your friends just always get locked up.
That's true. That's true. They're always. But no, it was pretty fucked up because they they said, like, the one friend of mine said none of the cops, he wasn't doing anything. He thinks someone behind him somewhere may have thrown a bottle. Then the cops rushed. This is in Brooklyn. And then so they got, the usual, thrown in the paddy wagon. There's social distancing isn't possible. And then they take the mask. None of the cops are wearing masks. And then they take the masks, pull the masks down on them. He said they had to beg for the cops to pull the masks back up. And then I know someone else whose masks got ripped off. They never got the masks, So they're afraid. Now they might have been exposed. So
yeah, you're gonna have the numbers are gonna go up after this week.
I think so too. I think they're gonna have a second wave.
That's the main reason why I haven't gone out there is because I thought about going yesterday to One Police Plaza to protest, but I can't. This Corona thing, man, when you catch it, you don't know how it's going to affect your body. You know what I mean? I'm here with Vaughn, and she has asthma, and we can't do that. Yeah. I want to be out there. Trust me, I want to be out there, bro. But I've been donating and doing shit like that, but I really want to hit the streets. We're going to plan it. I'm going to go out there, but we're going to plan it smart.
What do you think about how did you feel about the indictment of the other 3 cops today?
Thank fucking God.
Had to happen,
the motherfuckers.
It's about time. I mean, listen, you know what I'm thankful for when I'm looking at those protesters, a lot of white kids out there, man. So that gives me hope. That gives me hope, bro. Yeah. That really does because they don't have to be out there, and they really, a lot of people are taking responsibility right now. So I feel like this is different. This is different than Rodney King and Philando Castile and Freddie Gray, the kid from Baltimore. This is different, man, because this is you looked at a video that you can't deny is wrong.
Oh my God, I feel like everyone should have to watch that video.
Yeah, most people try to turn away from it. Like you need to watch this whole thing.
You got to watch the whole thing.
You need to watch the whole thing. I think everybody did. That's why you have this outpouring of.
Yeah. And you know what the difference is? It's just that people have cameras now. Like this happens all the fucking time, and it's not right.
Agreed.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've been harassed by the cops, and I used to argue
rightfully
with
so,
them.
Michael. Rightfully so. I'm sorry.
You said rightfully. Sometimes I was doing some dumb shit. I'm not gonna lie, but every time that I was doing the dumb shit, I accepted the harassment.
Right.
What pisses me off is when I'm not doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they fucking harass me.
Yeah.
I'm like 50, dog. Like there's no reason for you to pull me over and harass me. I'm a 50-year-old man. And I get it all the time still. I'm dark-skinned. That's the problem.
Yeah. Judah?
Mike, question. Do you get it, like, in any circumstances more than others? Like, in the car, do you get it more than if you're walking on the street? Do you get it more walking on the street?
It's in the car. It's usually in the car.
Yeah.
I never get harassed by the cops walking on the street.
Okay.
Because they can clearly see I'm a grown fucking man.
Yeah.
But in the car, they're not sure.
Right.
So I'm constantly. I got pulled over in Vegas, Esty. I got pulled over in Vegas, and I got real nasty with the cop, and I felt bad because she wasn't a bad cop.
Right.
That's the thing. When you get nasty with a cop, and then they turn out to be decent, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, but it's the whole crew, though. I don't know who's who. I can't sort them out.
No, she was a good cop. She was decent, and she understood why I was upset. And she was like, but you really got to curb that attitude because, dude, I'm just doing my job. Like, every cop is not that cop. You know what I mean? And I was like, I apologize. I'm sorry. I know that I was wrong for how I came up. But you got to understand that this happens to me all the time. Yeah. You know? And she understood. And it was cool.
Mike, maybe you're a really lousy driver.
That could be it. I'll tell you that. I'm probably a lousy driver. That could be it.
Judah, what did you want to say? You wanted to say something?
No, I was gonna say I think Mike's being too kind about that cop. It's like you're off the hook now. You can say the real shit, dude.
No, bro. I was so nasty to her, Judah. I was so nasty to her.
Mike is always very truthful.
Huh?
I said you are always very truthful.
I try to be.
But he gets emotional though. He gets emotional.
And the reason that I was nasty to her was because it was one of those times when I was just like, really? Like, come on, I'm just going to get some fucking food. And now I got to deal with this shit. And
wait, I have a question.
And she was the nicest person.
All right. Go ahead, Judy.
When you guys get pulled over, and that moment where you see the lights, you see, like, what goes through your mind? Do you think,
I'll tell you an experience I had.
This could be it? Like, is it every time?
I'll tell you. I just let me say. I just want to tell you an experience that I had that was really it's really fucked up. Like, when it happens, you feel like you don't have a country. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, you feel like it's like, man, you're supposed to protect me, and you're doing this shit to me. Like, you're the people I'm supposed to call. Right. And even if you go, God damn, man, I paid the same amount of taxes, if not more, than other motherfuckers, and I'm getting this. So like it's sometimes it may be physical harassment, it may be verbal, it may just be unnecessary. Right. You could be with your woman and it could just be some unnecessary extra shit where they'll say some stuff where they try to goad you. So they'll say shit like, I can ruin your fucking life. I can do shit. And then just as a man, when you're standing with your woman, sometimes I've had to tell cops, you don't know who the fuck I am. And then my voice goes up and they go, and I've gotten harassed while I've had my lawyer on the phone. Like, it's just insane stuff. But at the end of the day, you leave feeling like, God damn, like who do I have? Like, do I belong here?
Yeah, a cop said the same thing to me, that he'll ruin my life. But I said, joke's on you. I already ruined it. Your powers don't work here, copper.
Yeah, and it's
Henry,
really hard to shake.
Henry went to IU Bloomington. Yeah, and his roommate DeAndre, who's his best friend, when they would go to the airport, like if they went separately, DeAndre had to go like 40 minutes out of the way to avoid what? Martinsville, Indiana. He couldn't drive through because the KKK.
That's real. Big cake. I went to Notre Dame. I know about Indiana like that. Yeah,
just start bragging about our colleges.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying I've been in some backwoods cities in Indiana like that, like, you know, and doing colleges and shit, performing at colleges. Right. Oh my God, I've had comedians still apologize to me to this day. We were in Florida and we all did a caravan from the school. Yeah. And I was the only one to get pulled over in the middle of the comedians. And the other two comics were white and they didn't know what to do. They were like, he's with us. And they were like, get in your car, you know, all that shit. And this in Florida at night. Wow. And I was nervous as fuck.
Scary as shit.
Yeah. So I immediately go back into, I feel like I want to say the shit that Mike Yard says, but I always go back and just keep calling them sir. I just keep calling them sir. I don't know. That's just how I was raised, and I just go
kindness, right?
Yeah, I just keep calling because, and I'm also like I'm 6'5" and all that bullshit. So like I just try to sir.
So like you just want to go scream and say fuck you, leave me alone. Ugh.
And that's kind of like what you're seeing. Yeah.
I've had that with cops where they pull me out over, and my mother always gets mad at me for this, but you know, it's just sometimes you just don't want to hear that shit, and then they'll use it as you being difficult and as a justification for what they're doing to you. But the fact of the matter is that nobody thinks about how it feels. If you don't deal with it, nobody thinks about how it feels to constantly, you don't understand how many years I've been dealing. I get pulled over by the cops all the time for no reason. My car is always registered properly. It's always in my name. I don't drive anybody else's car. I've had a car since I was 16. Everything is always legitimate. But for some reason, they see this chocolate in that car and they're like, he ain't right. And then they fuck with you. I've had arguments with cops where the cop pulled me over because I dropped my cell phone was in the middle of the console, right? It fell. I pulled over, put the car in park, reached back, picked up my cell phone, put it back where it was, put my seatbelt back on, put the car in drive, then got back in traffic, and then the cop pulled me over.
Yeah, he didn't use your blinker, Mike.
And he said that I was driving without my seatbelt.
Oh my God. Shut the fuck up.
It's good to see my tax money at work.
White people do not want to hear that for the most part. I'm so thankful that now they're listening.
Yeah, people are listening now. Did you see the story about the socialite, the pregnant socialite who was fakely calling the cops on this woman that lived in a building who was smoking out there, but she pretended like she was, it was another Amy Cooper situation.
Wow. How do y'all feel about that in New York? That was crazy.
Yeah, this is another situation like that where she was on the phone with the cops lying about what the charges are. Esty?
There's no question in my mind that pulling the cops, pulling over the whatever is very prominent. But I've got to tell you, I was pulled over once. And the guy goes around the car and I'm looking at him and said, why did you pull me over on Central Avenue in Hartsdale? And he says, oh, your license plate just fell. I said, it did not fall. He goes around, the license plate is on. And the way he was looking at me, the way he was talking, it was so unnerving, it's so suspicious. So I can understand what you're talking, because even the interaction I had, I had a cop pull me over when I was living in Forest Hills, coming from work at 2 o'clock in the morning. Where are you going? Where are you coming from? Why? Why? You can imagine. I can imagine how you feel when it's coming, because those few times I was pulled over, it was so out of line.
Yeah.
And imagine that, Esty, right? And the probability of it getting physical. With you, it's probably not, because they see you're a woman.
But with me, it would. With me, it would definitely.
They'll swing on Judy Gold. They gotta swing on Judy Gold.
Yeah.
Man, it's getting out of hand. I mean, but all the protests, do you think the protests have died down now because all 4 cops were indicted?
I don't know.
So.
I don't know.
I hope that people give let it play out and see what happens, because at this point, if you protest and you go out there and you wild out and people wild out, then it's because that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
All 4 cops have been charged. That's what we were screaming for.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens, and then
also, you know, they also upgraded the charges now.
Yeah, to second degree. But you know what?
Yeah.
So I read somewhere today, like these cops need head exams. They have to pass. Plus, someone said something about that their uniforms look so military-ish.
All the equipment they're using.
Yeah. They are military.
Right, and they should not all have, it's not, we don't live in that kind of country.
Exactly. They're supposed to be peace officers.
Right.
That's the first thing.
But also, a lot of cops are like people.
They're the worker nations, right, Sherrod?
Huh?
peace.
Oh yeah, yes.
A nation in the hand.
But also, a lot of cops are people that are like a lot of street dudes. A lot of these cops are like white street dudes and street, dudes that that this was their opportunity to give themselves a better life. So they don't really think about the nuances of race and all that kind of shit. They're just who they are. And unfortunately, we don't have a system that's set up to vet these crazy people.
Yeah, but there's also the problem is bigger than that because we all can do more. It's like it's like just as a simple thing as having somebody over your house for dinner. I said this before on Race Wars. Just having somebody who don't look like you at your house for dinner. To let your kids see you interact with somebody who's don't look like y'all, but is a human too, and y'all just having dinner at your house.
That's true.
When people ask, what can I do? I say, do that. Do that. Go to somebody's house that don't look like you and have dinner and bring them to your house and let your kids do that.
It's crazy that you say that because I've been thinking like I need to walk up to more cops and introduce myself and ask them how they're doing and see and try to
like comedy. Hey, you like comedy? Come to a show.
Yeah, invite them to a show. Like I've been thinking about that a lot. Like maybe we all need to reach out to each other.
We all need.
I gotta tell you, man. I used to do that.
We don't know each other.
I would do that as a thing.
I would do that. My bad.
I would see cops.
Never apologize. Owen, go ahead. I'll go after you.
I would see because out here in LA and stuff. I would see cops, and it's a fun thing that I enjoy doing. Like when I see them, like looking at me, like it's a possible thing. I always speak first and say, "Hey guys, be safe out there." And then you see them like, "Oh fuck!" Like it's a slight moment of confusion just because I didn't go. What the fuck you looking at? Which I have every right to do that as well. But I just go, hey man, be safe. I try to acknowledge that
and you have every right to not say anything at all because we know. Let's play it. Let's be a participant in the better. So let's reach out before. I appreciate that one.
You do it as much as you can. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was saying, you always got to fight with love, but I think, cops scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And they scare the shit out of me. And I know some cops, and it's mostly cops that I know from working at live performance venues because at some places that's who does security there. And generally they're friendly with me there, unless I'm doing stand-up material that is critical of the police force, which I do have material which is strongly critical of the police force. So, but that being said, that's a different dynamic. You're both at work. You're performing at a venue. They're doing security at a venue. So you're working at the same place. Different dynamic. Right. If you're in your car, if you're on the street, it's a different dynamic. They scare the shit out of me. I used to get pulled over a lot. I stopped driving in the city about 5 years ago because it seemed like the last 2-3 years I was driving, I just kept getting pulled over more and more. And I'm like, fuck it. There were a couple other reasons I stopped driving.
They thought they had the Unabomber, Junior.
I remember I was doing the Chicago Improv, which, by the way, is not in Chicago. It's about 50 miles outside Chicago. Yeah. I forget the name of the town.
I hate when they fucking do that. Yeah. They do that all the time. Like in Cleveland, too. It's like, I'm not in fucking Cleveland, you asshole.
So I remember I was there. I'm like, it's at a mall, it's in the burbs, and I'm like, fuck it, I want to get to Chicago. So Saturday morning, I'm like, I'm going to fucking rent a car, and I'm just going to fucking drive into Chicago, because I want to see the city. So I start driving, there's so much traffic. 45 minutes later, I've driven 3 miles, because there's so much traffic. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to just drive around and check some shit out. And I go to the Walmart there, and I noticed some guys kind of near me a couple times throughout the store. Some kind of like hipster-looking dude. And I'm kind of wondering, I don't know, why is this guy kind of near me a little bit? What's going on? And then I'm like, I don't know, maybe, because I was on 30 Rock at the time. I'm like, maybe he recognized me. I don't know. And then eventually I leave the store, and then I'm about to put my key into the car, and he sprints up to me, pulls out a badge and says, Walmart security, I got to ask you to open up your bag. And I had my backpack with me. And I'm like, what, why do I have to open it? He goes, got to ask you to open up your bag. I'm like, okay. So I open up my bag, and in my bag is my laptop. And he was like a little confused, and he was like, okay. So he was profiling me because he thought I was shoplifting. So because that's Illinois. It's really fucking white there. Like when I go to the Midwest, I'm like, fuck, it's white here. Now
imagine that dude with a gun.
They smelled your Jew on you.
Imagine that dude with a gun.
So, and I told him, I go, the reason he wasn't a cop, so I was okay talking to him, and I felt comfortable to talk back to him, and I was like, the reason I have I took the laptop in a bag with me to the store is because I live in New York, and I don't leave a fucking bag in my car. I don't leave anything in my car. I make sure the car's empty because I don't want someone to see a bag and then break the window and take the shit. So I take bags with me when I go into places. So, and then that same day, then I'm driving back to the hotel, and then I get pulled over by a cop for making a right turn at a red light. Now, 99% of red lights, you're allowed to make a right turn outside New York.
Right.
But
outside New York.
he was right, because I checked I checked later that day. There was a fucking don't turn on red there that I didn't see. Yeah. He pulls me over. I get a moving violation. I'm like, fuck this. I return the car. I go back to the hotel, and I'm like, I ain't fucking leaving. I'm staying in my room, and I'm going to the comedy club, and I'm not doing another fucking thing. But they scare the shit out of me, those guys. So
it can be.
They don't necessarily scare me. I'm just a lot of times disappointed.
Sure.
Because I pay taxes. Like I write some checks, man, to the fucking government, dude, and that is very stressful when you write that check and you realize you're not writing it for equal protection, man. It's just not cool.
That's what I used to get so pissed off being a lesbo that I didn't have the same rights as everyone else.
I don't think you can call yourself that anymore, Judy.
Oh, right.
Judy, I'm offended. Wait,
you're gay?
Yeah, I'm a big fucking dyke. Okay.
That's better. Thanks.
No, yeah. No, I felt the same way. I'm paying my taxes and like I can't get married and like I don't get the same benefits as everyone else. It's not fucking fair. Yeah, I love that Judah always raises his hand. You must have been the best student.
No. It's just that with Zoom, there's always a little bit of a delay. I don't want to talk over.
Go ahead, Judah.
No, I was just saying it's I understand being pissed off because you pay taxes. I mean, I'm very pessimistic. I have no faith in any government to look out for you. If you look throughout history, throughout the history of the world, how often has there been any country, any city, any community where there's actually been a government that's actually looking after its people and caring for its people?
Well, here's the thing.
In the history of the world, it's kings and slaves.
I mean, give you that, but in this country, don't look after all of us the same then. Because some people getting looked after and some ain't. Some people get attacked by the police, some ain't. So it's like, we just want to be treated like not this.
I agree.
Yeah. But did y'all see there was a great report on that podcast, The Daily?
The Daily. I love The Daily.
They talked about 5 ways why it's really hard to hold, why it's difficult to hold cops accountable. And the first way was internal.
They don't let you. Yeah.
Well, they painted out 5 ways. It's actually 7, but they painted out 5. They said internal affairs because the police themselves, and then they operate off of precedent. So they go, wait a minute, this cop kicked somebody in the chest a year ago, and he's back to work, so we can't fire this person. The second, what were you saying? What are you saying, Esty?
Yeah, go ahead.
The second reason was because cops are public servants, so once they get fired or disciplined, they can appeal it. And in Minneapolis, where they looked at it, 46% of the police officers overturn the firing. So the commissioner, even if the commissioner is a change agent commissioner, he has to hire him back. The third one is the community policing, the community groups, where they they get to review the stuff, and then it's like a community board, and they get to give a recommendation as to what discipline action should be taken toward the cops, but the cops never listen to it, so they're like toothless. Yeah. Then the fourth one, which the media talks about a lot, is the unions, the police unions, and the head of the police union, he had already gone on a rampage saying he was going to get all 4 of those cops their jobs back, like regardless. Yep.
They always do.
Yeah, his last name is Kroll. I think his name's David Kroll, but I could be wrong. But some Kroll. And then Yeah, and then the fifth one is the reasonable fear. So you hear about reasonable fear in the police unions in the media. The pundits talk about that a lot. But I didn't know it was those 5 things. And then the other 2 are like, it's really difficult to get a prosecutor to press charges against a cop and to get a jury to convict the cop. So those are like 7
It's a lot of hurdles and so many hurdles.
It's a lot of hurdles. Yeah, but it's like
2 of them, let alone
designed that way. It's designed that way.
I understand.
That's what's got to break down.
I understand not trying to cut the feet out from the police. I understand that they have to have a certain level of authority because that's how you're gonna police a community that you need to have that respect from in order to stop crime. I get it. I get that. But when you watch, when you watch what happened with George Floyd, that has nothing to do with policing.
Yeah.
That had and too many times that is what the case is where cops. I mean, I don't want to go into stories.
You want this, and when it comes
like it's about me, but there's so many instances where it's like I'm looking at the cops like, "Boo, you don't even have to do this."
Yeah. Right.
Like they go out of their way sometimes.
Just because you can and you want to. But it's unnecessary. You're not gaining anything from it. When you get home, you're not a better person. You're not going to get a promotion from what you're doing. You're just doing this because you know that you can do it. And
here's the thing.
And that's the kind of shit that we have to hold them accountable for. When you watch other cops, because it wasn't just one cop that kneeled on that brother. It was 4 responsible. 4 of them.
Well, 3.
So when you watch what they did, right, as a cop, as a human being, fuck a cop, to watch that cop, what's his name, the Asian one, what's his name,
Fuckhead.
Oh, that loser, yeah.
To watch him sit there, and I saw him glance at George Floyd a couple of times.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, maybe this guy will be like, dude, this don't look right. But even
he was a coward.
A
coward.
Wait, what about
shit out of this motherfucker?
A coward.
What about the guy that was saying, "I've been through training. He's gonna die.
Oh,
you're
he
such
was
a big
MMA
man."
Guy.
Yeah, that was he. He's like, "Oh, you're so cool. You're such a big man now." I mean, I just can't believe. Like, it is the worst. It's the worst thing I've ever seen.
But the thing is, see, the criminals.
There's worse ones.
Criminals should
I
fear.
know, but it's just
bad as that is. There's
the
worse
poor
ones.
man. Yeah.
Criminals should fear the police, not communities.
Right.
They treat everybody in the community like a criminal.
Theoretically.
That's why the whole community fears the police, but they shouldn't. Only the criminals. You should be stern. I want my cops to be stern and strong and all that.
Oh, cops got Mike. Cops got Mike. Hold up. Cops got Mike. Yo, Mike. Mike.
There's Mike things failing again.
You good, Mike? Yo, Mike.
Mike is using an Atari 2600.
Oh, Mike, I thought they got you, Mike. I thought the cops got you, baby.
I'm back.
There you go. You
Woo.
right?
Woo. Mike, you can't just fall out like that, son.
My bad.
They making everybody feel like they're criminals in the community. That's not a good thing, man.
Well, you know, and that also leads to.
I've been sending a lot of tweets to Donald Trump, so I'm afraid he might be sending a team out to get me.
I'm gonna get you.
Such a
Trumpo. So what do you think? So you think about biting on Beat Your Boy?
Huh? Say it again.
You think Joe Biden will beat Donald Trump in this election?
Man,
I don't hear a lot of enthusiasm.
I don't. If he doesn't, then there's really something fucking.
It's going to be a tragedy.
I think he has to.
We are in a no-win situation, really.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Bad or worse.
I mean, this is just as worse. I think. How can it get worse than this?
Hey,
I've been saying this for a long time. When all I have is 2 choices and those are false choices. And so you're giving me 2 bad choices and asking me to pick one.
That's how it always is.
And at this point in time, I got to say that I would rather have the bad Joe Biden choice than the Donald Trump choice.
Yeah, me too.
Simply because
of course.
I think Donald Trump is way more dangerous than Joe Biden.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think stop.
And we are the laughing stock of the world. I mean,
who cares what the world's laughing at?
I don't even care about that.
Fuck the world. Who cares?
Well, just shut the fuck up. I just said something. You don't have to attack me.
Not you. I just hit that statement. It ain't like you just chiseled that out of something.
Oh my God! Yeah, shut up.
The world. Donald Trump said the same thing. The world's laughing at us. It's like, first of all, let's pay attention at home.
Right.
I actually think that the last minute somebody else is gonna pop in. I don't think
Cuomo. Will you vote for Cuomo?
I hope
Mario
it's
Cuomo.
Cuomo.
Oh no.
Ah, Essie said 4 no's, huh?
No,
for Cuomo?
No.
Why you say no for Cuomo, Esti?
because I don't like him.
All right, that's enough. Let's go to commercial. We'll be right back with.
I don't like him.
I don't like
I
him.
think he's arrogant.
He
I
is.
think he is the.
Trump's not arrogant.
Huh?
Trump's not arrogant.
Trump's arrogant.
I'm not
would
the
he be the right choice?
Oh, all right.
But that's what I'm saying. Biden is weak. Cuomo is arrogant. Trump had an opportunity to step up, and he did not.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
we
he's
knew.
an idiot.
Somebody else has
idiot.
to come into picture. Otherwise, the elections are going to be pathetic.
I really want Mitch McConnell to lose. I need Mitch McConnell.
Oh, he better lose. But she's so lesbian and won't. Don't you think she's a les and she won't come out of the closet?
Yeah, she loves covering her chin.
The woman running against Mitch McConnell and
she looks like such a lessie, but she's married with 2 kids. But she probably did it for her career. You can't be a les in Kentucky.
Because
aren't you married with 2 kids?
I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
not
she's a
Kentucky.
lesbian.
I mean,
what you were saying, Owen, that you want him out because his time is
I
up?
need him to be out because I mean, whoever is like the commander in chief was like that dude is enabling like a lot of the stuff that's really affecting us behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
And I still say Mitch McConnell in the public though, he seems more in his head than Trump. It's like Trump goes off the thing, and sometimes Mitch, I go, good for Mitch for saying that at least.
Right.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Because Trump would be all the way out on something.
Like what, Sherrod?
Like this, even the shooting, even the shooting.
Oh my God!
Listen, the George Floyd, even the George Floyd situation. What Mitch McConnell, if Trump said what Mitch McConnell said, it'll be fucking less anger in this country.
Yo, can I tell you how shocked I was?
Inflaming things. Mitch was like, "This is a shame."
He incites violence. He gives them permission to act like that.
Can I tell you how shocked I was to hear Sean Hannity condemn this shit, bro?
Yeah, that is shocking.
That's when I felt like there's something different happening in America right now.
Yeah,
when I saw cops taking the knee and cops coming out saying it, because they never did that, man. They never did. Amadou Diallo, motherfuckers got plungers stuck in their ass, and cops didn't say that was wrong.
Yeah,
we lived through that here in New York City. You can't say it's wrong.
Have y'all seen some of the footage of like some of the cops that have the National Guard that have like just banded with the protesters and it just changed like the whole chemistry?
Oh my God,
the whole chemistry of. And
I think like, some of that's performative and strategy.
Think so?
Not
think so?
You think it was a flash mob?
Yeah, I don't know what to believe anymore, man. Like that's the other thing that's crazy.
There's a lot
like,
of propaganda out there.
Then you read the comments and go, that was from 2 years ago. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, but
like,
but that police chief in Atlanta, the woman, she went out and talked to all the protesters. She was great.
Yeah.
She was like, I hear you.
And what about the sheriff in Flint, Michigan, who
that's
said,
the one I was talking about.
Do?
Right. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't from 2 years ago. That was from now, because he was interviewed on CNN talking about what he did. So that wasn't from 2 years ago.
I think that's the stuff that's necessary, right?
But Flint was already bonding because they all drink that poison water together. So they already had a bond that nobody understands. That diarrhea that they shared.
He was like, what y'all want to do? Because I got to take a shit. I know y'all got to take a shit. So
I really need to use one of y'all bathrooms.
We talking white and black, but they talking brown in Flint, Michigan.
We all going to use the same bathroom. How's that for progress?
Man.
But it is encouraging to see these chiefs and these police officers coming out and this looking like human beings this time around. That's what it seems different than all this. And it's it's embarrassing.
I think we're at one of those points in America that that people 20, 30 years from now are going to read about and be like, wow, they went through that shit. And you know, this is why we are where we are today. I think this is different.
Plus it's our time as certain age black people go like this. You young kids don't know no protesting. I was around for Rodney King. Y'all think y'all know something? Y'all know nothing. So it's our time to be that person, the John Witherspoon of our lives.
I remember when those cops killed George Floyd. Y'all don't know nothing about no George Floyd. Y'all know nothing about
it. Daddy got on his George Floyd shirt. Here he comes. What y'all talking about?
He wear that shit at the barbecue.
He go in his knock around pants and his George Floyd shirt.
Y'all don't know nothing. Man, you know what I think is going to happen too is and the mayor of Minnesota was talking about it as well. They're gonna have to like get rid of a lot of cops and hope that new community members like step up and adhere to like the newer ways of policing.
You mean
It's gonna be
the mayor in Minneapolis? Is that the
yeah, but just across the board, like there was because the way cops are trained all over, it's like it's certain clusters in each precinct that adhere to these same ways, and they got to squeeze and make it to where like those cats just go away, and then it's going to be the whole soft on crime political stuff, and we don't have enough. But I think more people are going to rise up. My hope is that it's a better class of better temperament cops.
I tell you this, I haven't seen this much passion in Minneapolis for a black man's death since Prince.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Sherrod.
Huh?
Sherrod.
Jesus,
I say we reopen that case. I mean, the cops were the first one on the scene at Prince's house. I say we reopen it. Nobody?
You've been saving that one in the holster all night?
Hello?
Had it for a few weeks. Just waiting for the right death.
Just waiting for the right death.
Been fooling around some. Come on, Minneapolis. You can do it. What you got?
It's a fascinating time to be alive in America, baby. We're gonna see what happens.
It is, and we all thought that coronavirus be the reason why the world be different when we go back, but it ain't gonna be coronavirus that changed the world.
But what's gonna happen to New York? I mean, it's like really sad here.
It's all boarded up. It's sad.
I mean, do you think we're going back to the 70s here?
What?
No, I think people are gonna calm down. I think people wanted for those.
So many people are leaving.
Well, that's good. That's people who just got
anyway.
anyway.
The suit is still raw, but I think they're going to calm down. I think people wanted those cops arrested, and the fact that the other cops got arrested is going to be big for calming down these protests. I think they're going to calm down, and they're going to wait to see what happens in court. Just
they got to get charged.
It's definitely going to bring down some gentrifying numbers in the city. We all know that. Those numbers going to dip.
Good.
Give me an apartment for a decent price now. Go back to the Midwest, Mary.
Yeah.
It's about time, though. It's better for all of us, man. Yeah. It's better for all of us. You don't need a section of your community, of your country, a segment of your country living like this. It's not good for the soul of your country. It's just not. It's an ugly thing, man. And it's about time that people. Because we've been yelling. I grew up in East New York, Brooklyn in the mid 80s, early 90s. There's a documentary out right now. Everybody know about it called The 7-5 about the cop situation over there. And even then, Sherrod, we were yelling, yo, these niggas is dirty.
Dirty cops, and we all know it.
Y'all are not listening to us.
Nobody
and then
listen.
Now they have a documentary and they're like, wow, they were really dirty.
Ardie!
It's the same thing.
Hey, what's up?
Hi,
Ardie!
Ardie.
Oh shit! Ardie's here.
Ardie, did they tell you 9:30?
Yo, rich people walls look just like mine.
Owen, what up, baby?
What's up, Ardie? Good to see you, fam.
What's up, man? Yo, I just got in from so I go walking. I walk 3 miles a day, and I go biking. I try to do 12. I went biking with Will Sylvince.
Yeah.
Yo, never again. 15 miles.
Jesus.
Yeah, because Will's trying to get away from those voices in his head.
Leave Will alone.
Shut up, Judy. You ain't his mother. Shut up.
Will don't fuck around, dude. I was like, never again.
Well, put a rickshaw on the back of it and make it a job for him.
Oh my God!
You in Jersey?
Where are you biking, in New Jersey?
Yeah, Jersey City. Yeah,
nice.
Jersey City.
Nice.
I'm glad to see you guys are biking right around the important protests. That's good.
I just want to let y'all know this is how much I love y'all. I'm staying out past the curfew. Our curfew was 6 o'clock.
Yo, they've been locking people up past the curfew.
Yo, our curfew was 2 o'clock yesterday. Yeah,
2 p.m.
What the fuck is that
2 p.m.
shit?
What are you
Santa Monica,
about?
man?
It was 1 p.m. the other day in Santa Monica.
Yeah, it was 1 p.m. and then 2 p.m.
Yeah.
And I'm always out like right next to it. And I get nervous.
Is that the curfew that your woman has put you under, or is that
woman is the city of Santa Monica, yo?
What if you don't wake up till noon? You got an hour outside.
I know. Gotta go back in.
1 o'clock, son? That's crazy.
It was 1 o'clock. It was 1 o'clock 2 days ago. Like I literally just sat down in my office to write, and then you get these alarms, and then my wife called me. They say it's 1 because we got 2 young kids, and so
right.
I was like, "Fuck, gotta go," and I had to go, just go right back home.
So how many fires was in Santa Monica? What was going on?
It was quite a few, man.
Well, they go to the promenade and like.
Yeah, they went to the promenade. So we stayed.
Promenade or promenade?
Promenade. All right, shut up, Judah. I thought no one heard that.
Judy.
I fucking heard.
Promenade, you fucks.
That's better. That's better.
Yeah, we're like 23.
The promenade.
Approved. Yeah. We're 23 blocks away from the beach, so we're a little bit further away from it. But yeah, they were wilding, man. And so it's mad helicopters everywhere and all that shit. And you can smell the fires, and then and my wife is always on Nextdoor. Is that do y'all have Nextdoor in New York?
That app where you can see the criminals. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Nextdoor?
Yeah, it's called Nextdoor. Yeah. And it's like it's your neighbors. It's all your neighbors talking about like the criminal activity but you can also
citizens. Yeah, that's what.
LA cops are scary. LA cops are scary because they're, they're racist and they're out of work actors. They're scary.
That's right.
You said they're racist like other cops are.
That's Esty.
No, I said they're racist and they're out of work actors. So they're extra pissed off.
That's my son's question. Do you think if all 4 cops would have been charged with a hate crime right away, would we have all this outrage?
I don't think so.
No,
I don't know what the
if they would have got charged with a hate crime as well, but they haven't been charged with a hate crime at all. So
I know. They should be.
I don't think that there would have been outrage. I think people would have been happy with that because that's why they hit the streets, because they saw 1 cop got arrested when 4 cops kneeled on that dude.
Initially, none of them were arrested.
First, nobody was arrested. Before anybody got arrested.
Yeah.
Riots, then 1 arrest.
Yeah.
But Chauvin got arrested like 2 days after, right?
No, a week later.
No, 4 days.
Oh, a week.
Yeah, it was not right after. And
I've
that's
been angry for so long. I'm losing the day.
But I will, and people got, and I will tell you this though: when Minnesota charged him with 3rd-degree murder, I feel like that was a statement.
Upset me.
I know that upset a lot of people, but I feel like that was a statement from Minnesota saying he is doing jail time, because 3rd-degree murder means it was an accident. It's manslaughter. That's what they do. That's what they charge drunk drivers with. So he was definitely going to jail, because a lot of the play that a lot of prosecutors were doing with cops is they would charge him with 1st-degree murder. And they would say, basically, that's hard to prove in court, like beyond a shadow of a doubt.
First degree is easy to beat.
Yeah, it's easy to beat. So they would charge these guys with 1st degree.
Easier to beat.
Yeah, because you can't prove it. It's hard to prove it's premeditated. But 3rd degree, it's like, it was an accident. So that was them saying somebody's going to jail, but that made a lot more people outraged because they didn't hit 1st degree.
Right, because he killed him.
Murder is definitely the most difficult crime to prove. And when you say, that's why I was like a little concerned that Crump was asking for 1st-degree murder charges, because if you know anything about the justice system, 1st-degree murder means that you set out that day to kill that person.
That you planned it, right?
So to say that, that you want a 1st-degree murder charge, it's kind of like
you're trying to say you want him to beat it.
Yeah, it's like
or they always try to do this, or they always try to say you had like a window when you could have changed your mind, but you decided to go ahead and kill him. They've tried to do that. And that everybody on the jury is not going to agree with that. So they always get off. They go, for those last 2 minutes and 53 seconds, Trump was probably going to be like, you could have gotten off of him. He was unconscious, but you decided. That's when they would try to say it was
right.
But I think they got some good evidence they ain't letting out right now that the DA of the state DA, I think they got a lot of great evidence, because I saw his interview on CNN and he was just talking about the charges being changed, the additional cops being charged, and he can't talk about the evidence, but he said it's substantial, and that's why we up the charges.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. And
what
I liked is when the president said, if y'all keep looting or whatever, I'm gonna send I'm gonna release the military.
Right.
The military.
I felt like the next day, like everybody protested. Like,
like
the
that's
whole
gonna
world.
get everybody sparked
I
up.
was just,
Nana was out
I was
there.
like crying, like, yeah, people.
There was so many people out there the next day.
People I thought died years ago.
Right.
I saw my social studies teacher from 3rd grade.
But you know what? As angry as you get, like you hear about these stories of just humans being humans, like that brother in DC that let 70 plus protesters in his house because the cops were trying to trap them on the block. And this brother let 70 plus people in his house to get away from the cops. And he figured out a way with the pizza shop to get pizza through the back alleys to feed these people, bro.
Wow.
A Middle Eastern dude. And he said when he was looking at what was happening and how our humanity was just being like thrown away, he was like, and then his neighbors came over and brought food for these people. You know what I mean? So these kind of things give you hope for this country, man. As angry as you get and as much as you know there's a lot of injustice out there, there's also some good people, man.
And just good to know, no matter.
The best thing is they all got coronavirus. Not one of them missed it.
But they did it together as one people, dude.
Exactly. They came together, Mike.
They do the tracing for corona to see how you got it. Is all going to go back to that one house in Philadelphia.
It's good to know no matter how much the cops got an area sealed off, the pizza dude can still get in.
Can still get in.
Who's he? Fucking Born Identity? How did he get in there?
Pizza dude delivering shit through the back alleys,
He came
bro.
out on the cable.
When I saw that story. It was beautiful and it was also hilarious. Like it was, for me, it was such a bad look for the cops that motherfuckers are sneaking pizza through the back because you're being dicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just hope that everything goes right with this trial and we get the results that everybody. I mean, I just hate to see something go awry in this.
You're not gonna go to trial. Yeah, they have to go to trial.
They're gonna take deals.
Yeah, my son thinks that they're gonna take deals.
They might.
It's a chance of it, but it will. If the deal is 15, who's giving up that deal?
If they make deals, that's really dangerous.
Yeah, it's better to do it in the hands of a jury.
Because right now they're washing dirty laundry in public. They have to finish the job.
Yeah. No backdoor shit. No backdoor deals because it's gonna make people angry.
I agree with you.
Unless it's a deal for life in prison. And nobody does a deal for that.
Yeah.
And this is different, man. America's looking at this differently than any other one of those things that we've seen on video.
Yeah.
And so they got to get it right. That's why I was not upset that it took this long to arrest those cops. I said, you know what? Let them do what they got to do. Let them get their evidence. Let them leave no stone unturned because we cannot have mistakes with this, man.
Yeah. So they can't overturn it and play with
it. They got Keith Ellison as the Attorney General.
Yeah. Keith Ellison. Those are talking about Attorney General,
yeah.
Well, the governor gave that to him because the district attorney of that county did not bring the proper charges that he should.
And that person has an awful record on a bunch of shit, along with police brutality in that district.
You know what's crazy about him? His claim to fame.
The DA that they took off the case.
The DA that was originally assigned the case.
Yeah.
His claim to fame is he's the only prosecutor that has ever prosecuted a police successfully in Minnesota. But he prosecuted a black cop for killing a white person.
Killing a white Australian woman.
By mistake.
Australian woman, by mistake.
He in jail for 12 years.
Yeah, she called the cops for sexual assault in her alley. She came out. He shot her. He got 12 years. He got 12 years for it. It's a disaster.
And he was trying to use reasonable fear. And they got him on manslaughter, second-degree manslaughter, and just third-degree manslaughter. 12 years.
Isn't that crazy, though? And that's what he brags about.
But these cops got to get a lot more than that.
But George Zimmerman should be in fucking jail.
He should.
Yeah.
Apple and oranges, Judy.
That's true.
I just thought of him. He should be. I'm just thinking of all the people that get away with this shit.
And you know who else is bad, Judy? Hitler. Hitler needs in jail because Hitler needs to.
There's a lot of cases throughout the years. What happened here is a life-changing event.
Oh, absolutely.
And if they're gonna fix the legislation and the operation, how cops work. Look, in every profession, you have good and bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Good doctors, bad doctors, good cops, bad cops, lawyers, whatever. If a cop has 16
violation, or complaints,
guy had, he should have not been on the force.
Right.
Yeah, we can afford bad cops. Bad cops mean dead people.
So there's got to be, they have to rework with the unions, with whatever, because let me tell you, I wouldn't want any of my friends or people I love be a cop. Because every day you leave, you put your life.
You put your life on the line.
However, on the other, so we cannot in one sweep of the pen destroy all of them. But if you have somebody like that guy who has already a record of being bad, he should have been off the force.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree.
And good cops got to step up. If you're a good cop,
these guys are gonna get punished, and if they rework the legislature and the rules of what a cop can or cannot do, and who they answer to, and training and all of that, there's hope. There's hope.
Yeah.
Owen?
Bob Kroll, he's the head of the police union, and he has 24 or 26 complaints against him.
So you see, he should have not been.
And he's the head.
He's the head of the police union.
Bad. That's really, really bad.
Gross.
Systemic racism.
The worst offenders is the leader of the union. It's like, what is that?
His whole job.
And I'm a union guy, bro, and I've fought. I've led strikes. I've fought for workers' rights and all that. But there is no way that I would ever go into a grievance meeting knowing that my union member was wrong and defend wrong. And the problem
is that crunching?
Stop chewing, Owen.
That's Ardie eating.
Oh, that's Owen. That's Owen.
No, that's Owen.
That's Owen.
Owen think he's in his Lay's commercial.
Oh, it is true.
Ardie always gets blamed.
I know. I didn't even do anything.
Always move.
I did want to kind of blame Ardie.
Ardie.
Hey, Owen, is that your voiceover mic?
Yeah, that's my voiceover mic. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? Take one.
Hey.
Good voice.
This podcast is sponsored by Kettle Chips.
I need a microphone.
To thank them.
Owen, you really deserted 100%. You deserted New York. You deserted.
This is the only hat I have.
LA cap,
No, it's the only hat I have, Esty. Stop it. Stop it.
You should at least have a Brooklyn Dodgers hat on. You should be at least Brooklyn Dodgers.
I got Corona hair, Esty. This is the only hat I have right
now. Yo, you look like you had a haircut recently, bro.
I cut my hair myself because I did one of those Zoom shows.
Yeah.
So it's I could play it off with a whatever.
I ain't been to the barbershop in 2 months, bro. Look at that.
Yeah, man.
Holy.
Look at that shit.
I shaved my own head. I shaved my own head.
Judy is so sick of this haircut fucking.
I know. Judy's like, get next topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Guys, I'm going tonight. It's almost 9:30.
Oh yeah, it's almost that time. Yeah. So
right.
That's the wrap of the show.
Nice seeing you all.
I love seeing you. When the fuck is the club opening? I can't take anymore.
Yes.
Around August.
What's the word, Esty?
I was contemplating to ask Noam and have it open, but then I heard that the F word can't have it.
Oh.
The F word.
So what?
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
We're gonna punish Judy. No,
Judy.
Okay. Esty, when do you think?
For everybody.
I don't know.
Shut the fuck up, Esty. When do you think the club's gonna open?
Noam is very pessimistic about
what?
He's very pessimistic. When, how, and whatever.
I just want to hear the band play on Friday, so I can't even think. They play so loud.
Got old people.
But I miss it. I miss it.
I know. Man.
It's
just like it's so weird. Like when this first happened, and I would eat dinner, and then I'd be like, "Oh, so now I have nothing to do." It was the weirdest.
The first couple of weeks, every Friday, when people send me avails, I got an email from everybody.
Oh.
Every Friday. And then little by little,
It's like,
I still have a couple of people. It's Friday.
I still
Hi, how
send you
you
emails.
doing? Yeah,
oh God, I gotta get
check up
on that.
FC.
Shit.
I know.
Yeah, we gotta get it back.
I
So
know.
we'll be
make
back
sure
sooner
you
than
can.
later.
I miss that family vibe, man.
Yeah, I miss all
I
these
know,
guys.
it's so
Like
weird.
about
It's
the
like
club, it's that
empty,
family
empty,
vibe.
empty.
I know.
Yeah, comedians can't take this for much longer.
I know.
No.
It's
I
insane,
know.
bro.
But we're all gonna suck when we get on stage. That's
Oh
the
my
best part.
gosh.
I can't wait to suck big time.
It's gonna be all fine.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
It's gonna
In
work
3
out.
minutes, everybody's gonna be back to their usual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Judy, the audience is gonna suck too. They've been out of
Yeah,
work
that's
being an
true.
audience.
Yeah.
They're gonna be
Boo.
just
They'll
as
be
bad.
I totally have faith in you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's gonna be
Good
fun.
night.
Good
All
night,
right,
guys.
good night.
Stay.
Thank you.
Yeah, peace.
Yes. Be
Bye.
safe, everybody.